Welcome back everybody, back in the video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to beat every single defense. I've done a video like this before in the past, and I'm finally updating it now because the meta has changed quite a bit. Now I do expect Wretched Rose to change it, the defenses a little bit, but I don't think she's going to be that annoying for defense, honestly, right? Because defense is way different compared to actual RTA, right? So I don't think she's going to be that much of a problem in Arena, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when she does come out, right? Especially if you pair her with like May Chloe and all that good stuff. I don't think it's going to be that annoying. I don't think it's going to change anything currently right now. I don't think those are going to be more annoying than what's currently out right now, but we'll see what happens. But let's get into it. Again, I covered most of the popular defenses. I have 6 of them here. If I don't have it here, you can just ask me down below and I'll reply. Or you can post a comp in here, that's not shown on the list if you want, right? Help everyone out. That's basically how it is, right? That's usually how these videos go. I usually recommend people, if you have some comps you do use, let me know. Post them down below. Because there is a lot of different comps you can use to beat a lot of these defenses, right? They're very, very popular, so more than likely everyone has figured out how to pretty much beat them with their own way. Some people have not, but that's just the way it is, alright? So let's get into it. Defense number 1, Harsetti, Setsuka, Bloodbait Karen, and Lady of the Scales. Very, very popular defense, and honestly, one of the easier defenses to beat. There's a lot of stuff you can bring into this defense, really. There's a lot. There's a lot, right? But this one is pretty popular. There is a lot of good options here. You don't really need Lady of the Scales. While she does make your life much easier in terms of offense, you don't really need her. Alright? Realistically, you don't need this character, but it does make your life much easier. Alright? Most of the time, I do recommend this Lionheart team, but again, you do need Lionheart for this specific comp, because again, Lionheart right now, stonks are kind of high. Same thing with Brysaria. Those character stonks are pretty high. Very, very high. You could even run the good old Brysaria, Hwayoung ARAM, and I'm pretty sure you can slot in BBK. I'm pretty sure you can, because Brysaria should be able to kill BBK in the front. And then there you go. So I'm pretty sure this Genesis Rash, you can switch this out with BBK if you really want to. Right? But that is defense number 1. Defense number 2. It is going to be another Harsetti, Genesis Rash, and Lady of Scales. This defense has been popping up a little bit here and there. Little bit. It's not that popular, but I have seen some people running. I am running it myself included. Again, there is no good defense right now. There really isn't. Another defense, in my opinion, is actually pretty easy to solve. While yes, don't get me wrong, Genesis Rash can do some disgusting damage, he is still very, very beatable. Especially if he's in the front, this is how it works. This is the teams you can use, right? But if he's not in the front, well, then it's much easier to beat him up. It really is, right? If you see a Genesis Rash, more than likely, he is going to be in the front. If he's not in the front, well, then again, like I did say, it is much easier to really beat him up. Now, again, all of these comps are pretty straightforward. They're actually pretty easy, actually. More easier compared to these type of teams, in my opinion. All right, we got the likes of Hwayoung, ARAM, BBK, Brysaria. Yes, it does work. I'll be uploading that later on if you need more help with that. But it does require a certain way how things go. We do obviously have a Dark Alien, Setsuka, ARAM, Alvaro team down here as well. Pretty good. It's actually a pretty good comp. Now, again, you could swap in Lady of the Scales. I'll send her down here as well. Works perfectly fine. But I have seen people basically run this into me, and it works quite well. So, because Genesis Rash is going to S2 Dark Alien head, and guess what? Genesis Rash can't hit Dark Aiden. So, neither can Harsetti. So, therefore, I'm always going to have immunity on this character, and she can pretty much solo. So, I highly recommend most people to run this Dark Aiden team. It's a pretty budget team. You don't really need to use much, right? And there's really no MO5 here, besides Lady of the Scales. But like I said, you don't even need this character there. But if you do have her, it does make her life much, much easier, right? But other than that, typical offense teams. You're pretty much going to see a lot of the exact same offense teams. These are one of the best ones I could really recommend. Again, there are other teams to beat these defenses. Trust me, I know there is. I just have not really used different teams because, well, I already have the safest option. I might as well just keep using what I use, right? Next, defense number 3. It is going to be the Yuha, Setsuka, Lady of Scales, and Harsetti. Again, still very, very popular. Has been out quite a while. But it is pretty easy to beat down, especially if you do get your hands on Genesis Rash. Genesis Rash makes this very, very, really, much quicker. I do like Berseria BBK, don't get me wrong, I do like it, but there are times it could go very, very wrong in my opinion from my testing, right? So even the latest scales, Berseria BBK is much better. So if you could actually run this team number 2, much safer than Nezio, right? Again, these are not in order in terms of what's better. They are just all the teams you can really use. Obviously, Lionheart, Elvira, latest scales, and Aram is literally undefeated. You really cannot lose with that. But be careful, because some Setsukas have really high HP. I'm talking like 33k, 35k, disgusting HP on these Setsukas, right? Kind of crazy how some of these have really high HP. So be careful. They can strip your Elvira, and you can basically lose off of that. So be very careful when it does come to quick battles using this team. But again, I would highly recommend using latest scales, Briar Witch BBK, if you could use it. It works pretty well. Trust me, it does. Obviously, if you have Genesis Wrath, I really love this comp. It beats it up like nothing. It really does, right? But pretty straightforward. Lionheart fodder, pretty much. But again, not too shabby. Again, if you don't see it on here, I keep repeating myself, it can probably still work. I am pretty confident, like SSB in these next upcoming defenses I'm going to be showing you, can really beat them up. Now, defense number 4. Defense number 4, Reunite, Tenebria, latest scales, and BBK. Now, I don't have really that many options here because, honestly, I have not experimented. Now, would I use something else here? Probably not. If you can't do these defense or offenses, I really wouldn't touch it unless you have a sure way that you can actually beat this defense. But I'm pretty sure a bystander Hwayoung can solo this. No problem. If you pair it with just 3 other characters, right? So, these are the comps I do recommend. Pretty good comps, but again, like I did say, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of comps you can bring into this. I'm pretty confident there is. Like, I don't see how, like, Arya, SSB, and all that. I'm pretty sure it can still work here. Alright, now I am going to get questions about Elvira. Elvira is literally just here to bait out the Reunite. Right? So just keep that in mind. Literally just here to bait out the Reunite. Next defense. Again, be careful with Tenebria defenses because they are kind of spooky. They can really just beat you up if they have high effectiveness. So I highly recommend, be careful. That's why I try to recommend Cleave if you could do it. But, man, that character, if she lands everything, it's pretty much GG, right? Again, defense number 5, another defense, whereas Tenebria on there, and these are one of the safer ones in my opinion. Again, this is one I think you could SSB. I'm pretty confident you can. If you SSB this, let me know. Because, again, I need to know some slow comes for this, just for the sake of knowing. Because, again, I have not really experimented. I've been really busy with videos lately. So I haven't really been able to experiment in Arena with a lot of different offenses, right? But these are some of the safer ones, in my opinion, that I've used in the past or now still. Again, I do abuse the Selene comp. It is very strong if you can do it. You don't really need that fast of a Luna for this. You really don't. But, again, it's RNG. We don't know everyone's Tenebria speed is different. So just keep that in mind. And then lastly, defense number 6. Another light Tenebria defense, but honestly, it's much easier to cleave because honestly, you can literally just run a speed imprint with Vildred and your Luna, and you're pretty much set to go. All right. But we do have obviously Lionheart. Now back to defense number 5. You do see Lionheart down here. You really need a tanky Lionheart to tank a bystander Hwayoung. Just saying that right now. You really need a strong tanky one here. Also, I do recommend Egg of Delusion. Yes, I said that correctly. A 3-star artifact. Egg of Delusion is highly recommended for this Lionheart build. Trust me, it works. It works really well. Trust me, I asked Snitchu himself. He confirmed. Egg of Delusion. It actually works. It's really good on her, right? And then defense number 6, back to this. Same situation. Egg of Delusion, just in case. And then overall, it's a pretty straightforward Cleave team. If you can't outspeed this, it is what it is, right? But most Tenebrias are not what? Even if you have like a 300 Luna, I highly, it's not that many 312 or 310 plus Tenebrias going around, right? So knock yourself out, try to cleave it. If it don't work well, then go ahead and slow comp it, right? But again, I'm pretty sure these Tenebria defenses, you can do something along the side of SSB or some other shenanigans going on there. But I would not really recommend a Setsuka, Dark Aiden team, whatever, because they are going to get hit by this Tenebria because of RS3. It is a non-hit skill, so just be careful with that, right? But other than that, though, that's pretty much it on how to beat every single arena defense right now, currently. I will update the list in the future. I do this almost every single arena season, or maybe twice in arena season. It just depends on the characters they've been releasing. Surely I don't need to update this again, but who knows? Who knows? But other than that, though, thank you for watching the video. Hope you have a good day, and I will see you guys later on. Peace out.